So I'm just gonna say I'm back under the stairs and I'm hiding for the endingers because I think they just want my machinga. The endingers, the other endingers, they're after me now under the stairs because they want my machinga. They're after my machinga, but I'm the only one that can say my machinga the right way. But I'm still hiding from them under the stairs because they're very dangerous like that when they're out of the stairs and they're away from the tubs because there had also been uh, some things that I don't get to see a lot in the tub. There have been some Nazis, some things that I don't not get to see around the tub. And I think they were getting out from the tub because they have been keeping the tub clean. And then they're finding me where it's a little bit cleaner under the stairs by the endingers. So I've been hiding my machinga under the stairs with the endingers away from the other endingers who had caught out of the tub because they were seeing things they're not supposed to see, like Nazis in the tub. I'm just giving some. That's how you know you got a real bad guy is that you get yourself in a lot of bad shit that you didn't that was unnecessary like that. Also, I bumped into so I bumped into a lady friend that I know on her job today. Now I went to so for anyone that doesn't know, I was minding my own business. Your best ideas in life they come from life itself, not from your ass. So I was minding my own business, and for some reason, there's this particular bus stop where I go in town. I can't go to that bus stop and not meet someone there and have an experience getting off of that bus stop with someone that I didn't plan to meet there. But it usually has like musical pretenses. So the sooner I go to this particular of all the bus stops in the city, the sooner I go to this bus stop with my half cocked, half baked, half pretentious self bearing a fully pretentious instrument in public, practicing in public, I'll always get a certain look when I go to this bus stop. So one time I met a person. It's like, like you know, when that person invite themselves into your day. Hey, what do you got going on right now? Want to go over here with me? This and that. I don't know you, but I'm gonna be polite. There's a coffee shop right there. Can I get you a an espresso as long as you're being nice to me? Yeah, this is espresso. Have you ever learned origami? You can practice like with this kind of stuff. It looked like origami like that. But but so you can meet a lot. But then the next I met a person like that, and then I was back at the same bus stop, and a brother, he had been. I was outside in broad daylight, broad society during work daytime working hours with the guitar, and if that wasn't cool enough, I just got out. I had just got out a music store, getting back up. So like you gotta be careful what you say in this life and do because it'll exactly come back to you. So I have been rocking. This is I'm gonna actually break out some style moves. Somebody wasn't planning to learn some real style moves in a little video like this pop up. But if you want some style moves, like a lot of people will be like some someone said why you gay. Oh dang, I don't know, maybe I got made that way. To answer a question, honest answer, why am I gay? um I'll probably be gay because I was born that way, but I'm glad to be me, so that makes me twice gay. I'm born gay and I enjoy being gay, so that makes me maybe like three times gay. But um uh but with the style moves, this here go a gay style move, but this could work whether you're gay or not. So a lot of people they want to play guitar, right? It's funny, right? Because you would say that a guitar player might be the farthest thing from gay because they got all the ladies, all they have everyone lining up to be their friend, a guitar player. But a guitar player actually looks a little bit feminine like that. It's funny, like who gets to be cool for being feminine and who's actually gay for being feminine because you're so the greatest ends of a spectrum they overlap in a real spectrum. Dark and light, good and bad, gay and straight overlap at the ends of a spectrum. So like a set, if you imagine like a sex god, it likely be a little bit androgynous, like with the long hair like this. I'm not calling myself that because you can't call yourself certain things, but the look of somebody who actually has real persuasion around like things like attraction, overwhelming persuasion with attraction, it's actually a little bit amoral. Like so that the will be more incredible than good or bad, righteous or unrighteous, would be amoral. Because if you're moral, you can be good with morality and you can be bad with morality. But amoral is beyond that. For an example, that would be like, so is a baby good or bad? Is a cloud good or bad? Actually, a baby and a cloud, they're actually beyond good and bad because they're not yet good or bad. A baby can be feel like being a baby can be probably more. I haven't had a baby on my hands, but a baby could probably be more heavy, more cumbersome, more horrible. I don't mean to be called nobody baby horrible, but the experience of caring for a baby, it could be horrible. Like if it was that, if you had to get to work in the morning and you had to stay up late for a baby, that could be really hard. But that baby also, they can turn into any manner of person, from the greatest person we've not yet seen to also the worser person we've not yet seen. A baby could be that. But also a cloud, it can give you rain to keep you alive, because if you're on a drought, a cloud coming, is that's actually better than manna from heaven, because ain't nothing growing without a cloud when if it's in the desert. But also a cloud can be a rain, or if you're on this high sea, a cloud rolling in can be the end of your faith, end of your life, because there's so a cloud can be any degree of, depending on your extension in your situation. A cloud can be life itself, beyond life itself, that is water, rain. What life have we without water? Or a cloud could be worse than the devil, because the devil at least give you some options. You can make a choice with that, with the devil, but you see the right, wrong cloud rolling up on the horizon, and you're over the sea, and that could be worse than the devil, because there's no, you can at least negotiate with the devil. There's no negotiating with the cloud. You can be warned by a cloud, because some things in this life, like they would say, an act of God. They say that if the torrents turned someone's home upside down, that had been an act of God did that. But likely, even an act of God, it still have the God still don't override your free will. So you were warned when you're about to set out somewhere and it's about to rain on the horizon, or you hear that first thunderstorm like that. You always get a warning before a storm. If you think about it, yeah, it seemed like it's about to rain, but I'm already doing this half-ass shit. Maybe I should still do this half-ass shit while it's about to rain on my shit, but I think I'm about to still do this half-ass shit. How many times in your life have you known a storm to actually mince words with you? How many times have you known a storm rolling up and it seemed like it's about to be a storm? You get a couple warnings and then it not really go over like that. Now, I'm not, everything's possible, so that could happen too. But likely, if you heard a warning about a storm, someone wasn't playing with you about that warning like that. That would be like an act of God. So even God turning someone upside down, their life, their boat, whatnot, you had a warning come with that. Or if you're over the high seas and then you see that storm come on, you knew what you're getting up into before you walked out into the high sea like that. So you had a warning. So when it comes to the most incredible of things, you had a warning, but once you had the warning, there's no negotiating with that. But the devil come around, you can still negotiate a little bit with the devil. But a baby and a cloud, they're both exactly amoral, because they're beyond morality. They're not good or bad. They transcend it. They're amoral like that. But also something, the most of something is also a something. So the most sexually potent person or being would actually be amoral. That's androgynous. I think androgyn. So I think technically andros. That's like male. I can't think of what the feminine would be like in like if you eat stuff with like a lot of fat, like a lot of the distinction between a male and a female is not that different, because think about it, like, okay, so we're in line, we're at McDonald's, right? We're about to go stuff our face at McDonald's. I'm gonna stuff my face, you're gonna stuff your, hey, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, we all dudes, hey, I'm gonna eat the shit, you're gonna eat that shit, we're gonna eat that shit, but we're all male and female, but we're all eating the same shit. So life is just really the same shit, but it's just a degree of something that will make something be appreciated as something. But like some of your like your fat and your salt stuff like that, that's androgynous. That's actually what make, that's what start to have some of the distinction between a male and a female. It's actually very complex. The author Dr. Wesley Muhammad, for anyone who, because like I'm just responding, just ripping on a question about here, because just the subject of gayness came up on here. Gay male and female is, it's way more subtle than a person would give credit on the surface of it. That actually, to pass judgment on another person's being male or female, or even to think you could understand another person's being male or female, that's actually one of the most ignorant things. I'm not calling nobody, I'm not even taking shots at someone, even the person that asked the question about gay. I'm not taking shots at nobody, because I don't want no shots coming my way, so I ain't taking shots. But actually the subtlety of what's male and female, it's so profound, is that if you would actually approach that without having looked into it, that's about the more ignorant thing, that is like blundering thing you could say, because it's so fine. What's the difference between male and female? Like there's a book by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. I'm reading two books by him. He has one called The Pot Plot. So it's talking about how if you look at so like a lot of times now, right? we have like what would be like, so right now I'm online right now, I'm brave enough, or maybe you could say an ass enough, to be hopping up online talking about things, right? Some of the culture about being online, about getting our ass in a lot, getting someone ass in a lot of trouble being online, it come you could probably say it had to do with the social media. It blew up right around the same time, and as a part of, but not the same as like the drill music, drill culture, stuff like that, right? Anywhere from the last 10 to 15 years we've had the drill scene, right? But then before the drill scene, you probably had the trap scene. You could say you had like trapping bled into drill. But then you had like, I remember like a lot of people that come on here that would know about drill music might not actually remember the 2000, like 2000 to 2010. I was already an adult for most of 2000 and 2010. A lot of that was about trapping. Like I don't mean to be name dropping people, but just for context, you would have Jeezy back then. Like when I was my first job out of high school, I was working at a shoe store, and they would have like, you would have like hip hop music from the radio station. So it's actually like, it's kind of like generic hip hop music, but it can actually be more ratchet than actually some real. It's actually, that's the streets right there. That kind of commercial, well polished, but also well commercial, calibrated to land in the streets. Like some of that stuff you'd hear on the radio, like the early 2000s. It's radio. I'm back with it. My bad. I was having some bandwidth, but all I'm saying is that a lot of people, they wouldn't know about the Hmong people, but the Hmong people, they provided. You have, like, from what I know as a layman people, the Hmong people, they're kind of like the Native American, where they have a very beautiful culture. Learning this, what just the standpoint to think that success is about, that's part of the professional stuff, but that's what you might not appreciate if you really believe in the American dream like that. But then with the healthcare, is that similar, like with like say your prominent people? So I was watching something. So you have a regular power structure, and you have a de facto power structure in most settings. It might have been Taleb. I can't remember what book that was, but they said that you have an above board power structure and a de facto. So the above board power structure, that's what Trump went for, right? Yeah, man. I know everybody's cooler than to be president. Everybody wasn't angry to be president their whole time, but it's technically head honcho time. Like if you grew up around hip hop like me in the '90s, with HINIC. Hey, man, we need a new HNIC around here. We need a HNIC. And I know it had been everybody been on the block, and everybody ain't trying to always be out part of the side of the block, but we technically do need it. It's that time of the every 4 years we need a new HNIC main head honcho. So who's in it this time? Who's gonna, yeah, and then it's expensive too. So who's gonna cough up enough, a couple $1 billion to be the next HNIC? Which one of you guys got the next couple $1 billion to be the hold this HNIC for me for a couple years till I gotta replace your ass? But after I took your billions for, had been Trump sign up for that. But then that's the official that he paid for to get to be the HNIC. Trump paid a lot for that. But then he doesn't the only person having a pretty penny. So now you also have different space scientist people that are they can near about afford to be the HNIC, but we already got an official HNIC for the next 4 years, and none of your ass can do anything about that, even all that the fiat that you got to throw at that. So we also need a de facto HNIC to go right up next to his ass and keep his ass in check. And so that's also on the table now. But it's going to cost you a little bit now. It's going to cost, you might have to buy a couple of platforms, and now the shit ain't cheap now. It's a couple, three of them, couple things. Couple of them, a couple of them big things. It could at least about three of them things. If you want to be the regular HNIC or the de facto, which might be a heavier HNIC, either one's going to cost you. So our now de facto HNIC, that has to do a lot with like cool cars and space stuff, was tapping in about Ilhan Omar, no less. I seen a dude pop up talking about that. He already know the ins and outs of what Ilhan Omar got going on and stuff like that. So that would show you that the Twin Cities really is a case in point for the country to be concerned about, and that's what your main HNIC head honcho aware of enough to send people that like to people that like a lot of to like buy a lot of ice out of the convenience store, and they know where it come from. They like that ice out of the convenience store. They're over this way, but then also your de facto HNIC had weighed in on Ilhan Omar and what she got going on. So that does show you that Twin Cities is significant like that, and it does coincide with content that I've been putting up on here as like Mystic Mac. I predict these things, but it's just probably the algorithm that if anything's Mystic, it had been the algorithm that's Mystic. But what I was saying a couple of days ago is that healthcare, right? So when I met a real HNIC in regular layman terms,